Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to talk about knitting issue 261. I have a design in this issue and it does peek through on the cover, so it's not the main cover design, but I like the fact that Knitting Magazine will quite often, when they model accessories like shorts and scarves and things, they will quite often leave one of the garments from the issue on the model. I really like that, so it does kind of peek through there. So I'm going to show you what's in this magazine, a little taster of what's in this magazine, and then I'm going to go back to before I sent the sample to the magazine for photography and talk a bit about the design. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website, YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Let's have a quick look at what's in this issue first, and then we'll have a look at the actual design, and I'll show you what that looks like. So there's like a news page, and there's half a page on yarn shop in London called YarnAddict, which is run by a fellow Norwegian lady. They've had some financial problems lately, and the owner set up a GoFundMe or something recently to kind of rescue the shop. And apparently they have hit their goal. I think they've done better than what she expected. I've been to the shop once and it's a really lovely shop. It's not that easy to get on public transport in London, I don't think. You can get there quite easily on the bus, but I'm used to using the tube in London. So I've been there only once because it's not right in the centre of London, but it's well worth a visit. It is a really nice yarn shop. So there's a half a page on that here, and they have reached their fundraising goals, so it looks like they are safe, which is great. And there's an interview with Fully Woolly. Looks like it's a yarn shop in the New Forest area, so I'm looking forward to reading that. It's not an area I'm that familiar with, but I will make a note of where it is if we happen to be in that area. Then there's an interview with Emma Vining. She's talking about shawl construction beyond the traditional triangle. So I'm assuming that that's her design as well, that shawl, which looks like a rectangle, but I don't know, maybe. So there's like a 3-page thing on feature on Emma Vining, and then there's a feature on Willie Wormhead, fabulous hat designer. She talks about how her neurodivergence impacts her life, work and knitting. She shares a lot about that on social media as well. She does some really interesting stuff. She specializes in hats, but for her latest book, it looks like she has done some other designs as well. Her book is called Short Row Colorwork Knitting, and I do want to get a copy of it because it does look really good. Then there's a feature on Katriana Gilander. Don't know if I pronounced that correctly. She's based in Liverpool, takes inspiration from historic fashions for her structured and detailed knits. So that'd be interesting to have a read of later on. I might sit down and read a bit of this afternoon because I'm very tired today. So I know today's not going to be a very productive day. And then there's a review of various products and books and things, yarn reviews, some other designs, and then that is my pattern. That was knitted by one of my sample knitters. It's knitted in 2 pieces in garter stitch. I don't think it's got any armhole shaping. I think it's just straight up and down. So it gives you slight dropped shoulder sleeves, sort of cap sleeves look. It's a very drapey yarn, and it has like a elongated drop stitch, cross stitch pattern on the top here, which is really interesting. So I will show you more on that in a minute. Then there are some other really fabulous designs. I think the kind of brief for this issue was like easy knitting. And there's some other really pretty designs. I'm not going to show you everything that's in here. There are some really interesting designs. And this page is one I really like. So they take 3 designs. One of them is mine, and they show them in 3 different colors. That top one looks like it's Macintosh Fabulous, and I didn't realize that they did a really bright pink. I like that pink. But I didn't realize I did a really bright pink in Fabulous, but I do. Macintosh Fabulous is one of the yarns I really like working with. My design, by the way, is knitted in King Cole Finesse Cotton Silk DK, and it's very silky, got a lovely drape, really nice to knit with. It was my sample knitter who knitted it, so I've swatched with it, but I didn't knit the actual sample. So that is it, I think, for this issue. There's some tutorial stuff at the back and all the patterns and things. Then there's thing was coming in the next issue. I don't think I've got a pattern in the next issue, but I think I got in the next 3 issues after that. One of them I'm going to cast on today. And then there's the thing at the back from Erica Knight and Arabella Harris of the Nightcraft Studio. They explore knitter's identity. Ditch the stereotype. If we're not the knitting nanas, who are we? Yeah, we're all tired of the knitting nanas rubbish on me. But anyway. So we're gonna go back now to when I finished this sample before I sent it off to the magazine and have a look at what it looks like close up. So let's take a look at this t-shirt. It's a very, very simple t-shirt to knit. There's very little shaping. The only shaping is around the neckline. So you cast on at the bottom and you're knitting it from the bottom up in 2 pieces. So the front and back is knitted separately. But because it's garter stitch, you are just knitting, and then when you get to the underarm, and you might be getting a little bit bored of just doing garter stitch, you're adding this cross stitch pattern across the top, on the front and the back. If you feel that that's too revealing and you don't want it up here, then you can of course just do it on the back if you want to, or just on the front. You can start it earlier if you want to, and you could even do the whole garment in that cross stitch pattern if you wanted to. This cross stitch pattern is quite a simple pattern, but very effective, I think. I really, really like it. I've used a variation of it loads of times over the years. On this sweater, I'm crossing 2 stitches over 2 stitches, or rather through 2 stitches. But I've also done it with 8 stitches, 2 stitches, 4 stitches. You can do any even number of stitches, really. So you can alter it if you want to. I have a video on my YouTube channel where I show you how to do this kind of cross stitch pattern. I can't remember whether it's a 4-stitch cross stitch pattern like this or whether it's a 2-stitch one, but I will link it below this video and at the end of this video if you want to take a look. But once you get the hang of it, it is quite simple. And the 2 rows you do to do this cross stitch pattern, the sweater does grow by quite a bit, because that section there is only 2 rows. And then there's a few rows of garter stitch, another 2 rows. So it does suddenly like start growing a lot quicker. So we have got dropped shoulders because there's no armhole shaping. And then you just, at the end, stitch up the side here and leave the gap you want for the arms. You join the shoulders by working a 3-needle cast off when you finish the body. And then you pick up stitches around the neckline and knit the neckline in the round. It's just a couple of rounds of garter stitch and then a purl cast off. I find casting off purl wise makes it a little bit stretchier, and I just really like the look of it. It looks quite neat, I think. Don't know if you can see that easily, but it's quite a nice length, so you can wear it over leggings if you want to, or crop trousers or jeans, or you can make it shorter if you want to. If you want to make it cropped, so you can wear it over like dresses or high-waisted skirts or trousers, you can also make it longer to use it as like a beach cover up or that kind of thing. So you're quite flexible with what you do. Obviously, if you make it longer, you will need to get more yarn. If you make it shorter, you'll probably need less yarn. So you're quite flexible. You can also make it more or less oversized if you want to. Just look at the measurements in the pattern, and then I find the easiest way to work out sizing is to measure clothes I already have that I like the fit of. So if I have something that I like the fit of, I will measure that and then compare that to the measurements in the pattern. So if you want something that's more oversized that you can wear as like almost like a poncho, then you can just knit a size bigger, or if you want something a little bit more fitted, maybe knit a size smaller. There's a lot of flexibility there for you. So it's a very simple shape, bottom up, with this cross stitch pattern on the front and back, and then a bit of shaping for the neckline. So the yarn I used is King Cole Finesse Cotton Silk DK. So it's a blend of cotton and silk. It has 77% cotton and 23% silk. 120 meters or 131 yards per 50 gram. It's a very lightweight yarn. I find that some cotton yarns to me feel a bit heavy, and when you're knitting, especially larger sizes, like in my size or bigger, they can feel quite heavy because cotton yarn can be quite heavy. I sometimes find the same thing with silk yarns, but this one is actually really light. So this one weighs less than 300 grams, and it's like a slightly oversized size 10. I think the largest size in the pattern is either 350 or 400 grams. I'm very tempted to knit myself a version of this for the summer because I do really like the look of it. This yarn feels really lightweight and nice to knit with. It is slightly kind of textured. Can you see that? How it is slightly kind of textured? But it's incredibly smooth. You can definitely feel the silk in it. It just feels very, very nice and silky. How can I get it to focus on that and not on me? I don't know whether that makes any sense, but you can see that. But it is, let me just see how many plies there are applied together. So ply is the individual strands of yarn that are spun together to make the yarn, and this one, you can tell how many plies there are by undoing the end, and this one is, I think it's 2. So I think it's 2 strands, but I think each of those strands consists of 2 strands. So I think they've spun 2 strands together and then spun 2 strands of 2 strands together, if that makes sense. So that is what gives the yarn that kind of textured look. But I really like that, and I think it goes really nicely with the garter stitch. And the yarn is so soft and it feels very luxurious. But because it is king coal, it is a little bit more affordable. And the colour I've used is English Rose, which is a really pretty pink. And I wish this was my size because I would definitely wear it in the summer. I know I said that a lot of time, but yes, I do wish that I was magazine size because I would love to wear all this knitwear that I am designing. So I didn't actually knit this, one of my sample knitters did. So if you're watching, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I actually filming this in February, just as I'm about to send this off to the magazine. And this was commissioned just before Christmas, and I was going to knit this myself, but then I had to go off to Norway with like a day's notice. So I asked one of my sample knitters to knit it because I wasn't sure exactly how long I would have to be in Norway. So she knitted it for me while I was away, and then I just did the finishing. So I did the sewing up and I knitted the neckline. And I did also knit a little swatch with this yesterday just to get a bit more of a feel for what it was like. Of course, I managed to mislay that swatch. I think maybe I accidentally binned it in a bit of a tidy up yesterday. It feels very light in your hands when you knit with it, very soft and easy to knit with. I find some cotton yarns feel quite hard on my hands, and they're a bit, they lack elasticity. They lack elasticity. Is that right? Elasticity. Anyway, you know what I mean. And they feel a little bit hard to knit with, and this doesn't feel like that at all. It's very nice and comfortable to knit with, and I will definitely use it again for future designs if I get the chance. That is it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Knitting 261 is in shops in the UK now. You can also find it online. I will link to their website below. If you're struggling to find it, reach out for their social media because they may have more information there. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.